Joining us now is the Democratic senator from Delaware, Chris Coons. I think you had an opportunity to listen to the end of the story of a father who has waited 467 days to hear that there could be some light perhaps at the end of the tunnel, some answer to his questions of knowing what happened to his son with certainty. And he believes there is more that Congress can do, as he says, levers that have not yet been used. What do you say to him and to the parents of the other hostages?
Well, Chris, thanks for a chance to be on what I hope will prove to be an historic day in achieving the release of hostages, a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas in Gaza, and the first step on the path forward towards peace. The final details of this and confirmation that it's been ratified by the Israeli cabinet are not yet clear, and I'm hoping we'll have a statement from the State Department in the coming minutes. But I do think that we in Congress need to double down and continue to provide robust support for the families of American hostages, frankly, for the families of all the hostages who remain. October 7th was a horrific day when Hamas took hostages from many different nationalities and many different backgrounds, and they have held them for 467 days now. One of the things the Biden administration has done is to create a special presidential envoy for hostage affairs, Roger Carstens. One of the things I have found encouraging is that Steve Witkoff, who has that same role as special envoy for the Middle East, and Adam Boehler, who has that role as special envoy for hostage affairs, are working hand in glove with the current special envoys from the Biden administration. That we are at this moment is a tribute to how hard President Biden and senior members of his administration, the CIA director, Secretary of State, National Security Advisor, have worked for months and months, meeting, as you just heard from Ruby, meeting with the hostages' families, meeting with leaders throughout the Middle East, pressuring Qatar and through them Hamas, pressuring Israel to try and make sure that we can get to an enduring ceasefire, deliver humanitarian relief to Gaza, and get out the hostages. This has gone on too long, but there has been relentless, tireless effort by President Biden and his senior team to get to this day.
You mentioned Ruby, and I know that you have met with hostage families as this war has been underway. Can you speak, Senator, to the influence, but also just the unbelievable strength of these families who have not for a moment stopped advocating for their loved ones?
I was part of a bipartisan delegation from the Senate, 10 members, Democrats and Republicans, who went to Israel, to Tel Aviv, just 2 weeks after the October 7th attacks. And I will never forget our meeting with the families, the American families of hostages that day. I, in particular, met with John and Rachel, whose son, Hirsch, has subsequently been killed, but was a hostage for more than a year. And I've stayed in regular touch with John and Rachel. And as you say, Chris, they've been incredible pillars of strength, persistent, clear, consequential in their advocacy for the hostages. And so have the other hostage families from a wide range of nationalities and backgrounds.
This news came, of course, as a confirmation hearing is underway for Senator Marco Rubio, who is being considered for the next Secretary of State. He addressed the possibility of a ceasefire deal during the hearing, and I want to play part of that.
I am hopeful that there is an agreement in place that will bring hostages back immediately in an exchange and in a three-phase plan that Secretary Blinken sort of has outlined over the last 24 hours, and that credit to both the Biden administration and the Trump transition work side by side on helping this become about, and I hope that comes about. And part of that phrase, part of that deal, as I understand it, is it has this very tenuous but important 6-week transitional period where it's going to require international cooperation to bring some level of stability in administration. And that could serve as, assuming it works, that could serve as a foundation to build upon.
Two questions that raises for me. One is, how important will it be, Senator, to have a Secretary of State in place during this transitional period? But beyond that, the idea that a special envoy from Donald Trump was able to work seamlessly, apparently, with the people on the Joe Biden side who have been working on this for literally more than a year. Does that bode well, do you think, for the possibilities in what is a very divided country, as you well know?
Chris, I did have a chance to talk with Senator Rubio, my partner and colleague here in the Senate for 14 years, about that exact question. First, I think it is a positive sign that you've got a special envoy for the Middle East and a special envoy for hostage affairs, both from the Biden administration and the incoming Trump administration, who are speaking and partnering and working well together to make sure that there isn't a period here, a drop or a failed transition. I do expect that Senator Rubio will be confirmed. He conducted himself well in today's confirmation hearing. As I said in the introduction to my questioning of him, I have 3 questions for all the nominees. Do they have the relevant qualifications and experience? Do they have policy views that put the interests of the American people first? And do they have the character and integrity to lead the large and important departments they've been nominated to lead? Unlike Senator Rubio, who I think answers all 3 of those positively, several other nominees to lead, for example, the FBI in Kash Patel or the Department of Defense in Pete Hegseth, have real questions about either their character or their qualifications. That's the whole point of a confirmation process, is for us to move swiftly to confirm after appropriate hearings and thorough questioning those who are qualified and have good policy positions and have shown integrity, and to question or block those who do not.
Senator Chris Coons, on a very busy day on the Hill, but perhaps a day to be glad that now some families who have been suffering so much, and of course the hostages themselves, may be coming to some closure from this horrible episode. Thank you so much, Senator. It's always good to see you.